Greetings, Iain from RTL here. Welcome to another Skinner McCook extravaganza. As you can see, my good friend Richard is here. Good morning, Richard.
Good morning, Ian. How are you?
I'm good. This is a challenge because Richard set this to do the 2000s.
I thought it was actually easier than the 1990s whenever I looked at the number ones because they all only got the number one for 1 week.
Yeah, that's one thing I
A lot
noticed
of
about this decade. If you did 2 or 3 weeks at number one, you did well. But that's how things have changed. I think that how
yeah.
we used to buy music, the younger generation get bored very quickly with a song.
So I went through the number ones. Yep, like that. Yep, like that. Like that. I ended up with 14. So I have got four bubbling unders.
I've got me 10 and 3. I did struggle with some ones, but there is a bit of a theme of mine, and you'll probably work it out. So as
You'll work
usual,
it
it'll
out as
be
well.
as
Absolutely
usual.
well.
Yeah, Richard goes first, then me, and we'll go from there. So here we go. Off you go, Richard.
Okay, but again, before I start, there's a number one that was in the 1970s as well, which I'm not including, but it's the best number one of the decade, and that's George Harrison's My Sweet Lord, but I can't count it. Okay? But you can if you want, but I had it in my 70s. Okay, number 10 for me is a number one hit in 2002 for 1 week, and it's by Pink, and it is Just Like a Pill. Now, I quite like Pink in those days, or early stuff like Don't Let Me Get Me. And Just Like a Pill, I thought was very good. And the one after it on her next album, which didn't get to number one, and was actually covered by Shakin' Stevens, the song Trouble is my favorite of the lot. But I think Just Like a Pill is a really good pop song, catchy. You sing along to it, really good.
Yeah,
Again, what a lot of these, Ian, I can't explain the artists because I don't know them that well.
no, a bit like me, but again, I think that Pink. I think she's not my cup of tea, but I think she's a really good artist.
Mhm.
And she's one of them performers from that era that really is strong, and she's still going strong today, which is great. I mean, she has got a great voice. Yeah, not a bad one. Now, my for number 10, I've gone a little bit safe. Again, this is from the year 2000, another 1 week one, and it's the Manic Street Preachers, the masses against the classes. I like
Okay.
that sort of rock, some of that rock indie stuff that was around then, and that is one of the songs I like it. Well, I like it. You get that little speech at the beginning, and then it just goes into a nice little rock track. And there's a bit of harmonies that reminds me. I thought, oh, it sounds like the Rubettes. There's a little bit that's harmonisy that's very Rubetsy.
I don't actually know the song. I really don't know it. I would have to hear it. I might know it if I heard it, but I don't
Yeah,
recognize it at all.
it's just it's a good little rock song, and you always stick my hand up and cheer the rockers of the 2000s.
Okay, my number nine, I think, got to number one in the 60s as well. And it's a duet by a guy that I cannot stand at all. But he's with a woman that I think is absolutely gorgeous, and it's Robbie Williams and Nicole Kidman doing Something Stupid, the old Frank Sinatra, Nancy Sinatra song. I think it's great. And the fact that his vocals are not too far up in the mix, it sounds even better because I just can't stand his singing. But it works so well. And it got to number one for 3 weeks at the end of 2001 going into 2002. And it's a really good video. And she's absolutely gorgeous. So she gets in the top 10.
Yeah, it's an interesting song, isn't it? I mean, the original's a classic,
Yeah,
and I think Robbie, like you, I'm not the greatest Robbie fan, and I think he did it justice. That's the main thing. He
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 did,
did it justice,
did well.
and that's the main thing. Okay, my number 9. Now this is going to be a bit bizarre for me. This is from 2002, another 1 weeker, and it's a band called Liberty X,
Right, okay.
and it's just a little bit.
That's not bad, actually.
The girl singers in that are really good. Now, one of them singers, Jessica Taylor, married a cricketer called Kevin Peterson.
Did she? I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
so that And they were in that Pop Rivals rubbish, and they came second to Hearsay. And it's amazing that this band did more business than Hearsay. And I thought
Well,
they were
that's,
talented. Yeah, I listened to both of them just to see if I thought that Liberty X were better, and I thought Liberty X were a better sounding band.
yeah.
And I think it's a catchy tune. It's that just it's just a very catchy tune, and I can't believe I like it.
Okay, I went slightly safer ground for my number 8, and it's a number one hit in 2003 or 2005 for 3 weeks, and it's Madonna, and it's Hung Up, and that's the one where she samples the keyboard of Gimme 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 by ABBA, and she does it to great effect, absolutely brilliant effect, and I love the video for it as well, and I think it's just a really good sort of dance tune, and so it gets my number 8.
Yeah, she was good at taking a sample of something and utilizing it.
Yeah,
Whoever produced that got that one right, because I remember was it the Atomic Kitten took a bit of Last Train to London by ELO and totally mushed it, and you just don't want to hear it. Or the big one is I'll Be Missing You that nicked Every Breath You Take, which is just a crime on its own. My number 8 is probably one of my favourite singers from the 2000s. It's Lady Gaga and Poker Face. 2009, 3 weeks.
I considered it, but I didn't pick it.
I think she is one of the most talented young ladies.
She is very talented.
She writes her own stuff. She plays it herself. She doesn't rely on anybody else to give her things to sing. She can write them, and she sits there. And the other thing is, she's a big Metallica fan, so that's a big thumbs up.
There you go.
Yeah, she's. There's a clip on YouTube of her doing a sound check when Metallica, and she was rocking with the band, and it was great to see. I just got a lot of time for this artist, Lady Gaga. That's why it's my number 8.
Good choice. Well, my number 7 is a female singer whose first 3 albums I really like, but I don't like her as a person. And it's a number one hit in 2006 for 2 weeks. And it's that girl, Lily Allen, and Smile. I think it's a really, really good song. And there's a good reggae feel to it. Whenever you hear it, you almost feel as if you're walking down the street in London. It does have that sort of London feel to it. I know she's, is the word chav or whatever? I'm not too sure, but I think it's really, really good. And the follow up was even better, LDN.
Yeah, I could agree. Them songs were really good, but she's a bit left of us, isn't she?
But she's a bit too left for me, and she's a bit of a mouth, basically.
Yeah.
I do like those first 3 albums. The first 3 albums are really, really good. But yeah, Smile gets in there, no problem at number 7 for me.
Okay, my number 7 is again an all-girl band in 2000 from a film called The Beach. And it's All Saints, Pure Shores.
All right. I don't even know it.
I think it just is where I was working at the time, and this was sort of all the younger ones were liking this. That's oldies are going. But I quite like this. I think these 4 girls are very good singers. It's a catchy tune, and I have never seen the film. I mean, they did a great version of Red Hot Chili Peppers Under the Bridge as well, which is very, very good. And they did Lady Marmalade, Voulez-Vous, and they did that justice as well. That they sang it as it should have been sung and didn't do anything different to it. And fair play to them. They were very good singers. So that's my number 7.
They were seen as like a rival to the Spice Girls, weren't they?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, my number 6 is a girl band as well from 2005, number 1 for 3 weeks. And it's the Sugar Babes, Push the Button. I absolutely love it. It's catchy as hell. It's absolutely brilliant. That's all I can say. I just loved it from the very first time I heard it. It deserved to get to number one, and it's my number 6.
And guess what? My number 6 is.
The Sugar Babes.
I just think it's got that 50s diner feel to it.
It has got a real pure pop music feel that's not totally contemporary of that. There is contemporary parts in it from 2005, but it does have a real universal pop feel to it, which I love. I love the other one they did, About You Now, as well, which the Saw Doctors did a very good version of that as well. But I had to go with Push the Button. I thought,
Yeah, I think it's probably it's again one of my favourite songs from the 2000s. It's just so catchy.
So we've agreed again.
Yeah.
Okay, my number 5 then is a male artist, number 1 for 1 week in 2002. It's not my type of music, but I really do like him, and it's Eminem, and it's Without Me, and I think it's hilarious, and it's brilliant for playing in the car loud. Whenever you're driving, you're really, really going like that up there as well. But so I guess my number 5.
I can't disagree really, because I think this is a guy that's a white rapper. I'm not into rap, but give him his due. He can do it.
Oh, he does it brilliantly.
And
I think actually listen to the lyrics. They're so funny. They really are. They're hilarious. They can be quite coarse and quite rude, but they're very, very witty.
Yeah, he's got a very dry sense of humor. I mean, a lot of his stuff, you hear it on the radio, and you listen to it. This is quite fun.
Yeah, I bought the actual album Curtain Call on vinyl, the double album of his greatest hits, and I think it's fantastic. I really do.
Okay, my number 5, and if you remember Charles was saying about this on the live stream, and he said, I'm sure this artist is in your top 10, and he's absolutely right. It's Mel C, and Never Be the Same Again, that featured Lisa Left Eye Lopez, and it was number 1 for 1 week. Now, I am a big fan of Melanie C's solo stuff.
She would tend to be more rocky than the rest of them.
Yeah, and she has got probably the best voice out of them.
Oh yeah, well, everybody knows that. She's the best singer of the lot.
Yeah, I mean, she's gone on to do stage as well. I mean, she was in a production of Jesus Christ Superstar when she played Mary Magdalene, and she sang I Don't Know How to Love Him. Absolutely spot on.
I love that song. I love it.
Yeah, she nailed it. I mean, I think I saw it on Prime Video. If you got Prime, it's on the stage shows on there, and I watched it, and she was absolutely amazing in it. And I think she's a great singer.
No, good choice. Good choice. Well, my number 4, and Charles White, you're quite correct again whenever he said that I would have Atomic Kitten in, and it's Whole Again, number 1 for 4 weeks in 2001. Now, did you know that this was written by Andy McCluskey and Stuart Kershaw of OMD Mark II? Did you know that the whole of the first Atomic Kitten album is really an OMD album because it's all written by Andy McCluskey?
Well, I haven't got anything. I don't mind that song, but when you think about it, if you listen to it, it's going through my head. Yeah, it's got Andy McCluskey all over it, hasn't it?
Now, OMD themselves covered it, even though Andy McCluskey wrote it. They covered it in about 2007, 2008 for an album about Liverpool number 1 hits. So because Atomic Kitten are obviously from Liverpool, as is Andy McCluskey, even though I think it's over the Mersey, but I can't remember the name of the area. And OMD's version is really good as well. It's very synth heavy, just like OMD, but I think it's got a fantastic melody. And to get to number 1 and stay there for 4 weeks in 2001 is doing really well. And I guess my number 4. Love it.
Yeah, I thought about that one, but I found one that I wanted in. My number 4, I'm ashamed to say this. 2007, 2 weeks at number one, and it's Shine, Take That.
Well, why not? Why not?
Big hit. I mean, I think Morrison's helped because
Yeah.
Morrison's used it in their one of their adverts. But I think it's probably the best vocal Mark Owen ever did. He took lead vocal on that. It's catchy, it's poppy, and it's just a very, very good song.
No, decent enough choice. Take That in the 2000s were a completely different group to Take That in the 1990s. They were closer to rock based than they were in the 90s, where they were basically a dance
There
band.
was no Robbie Williams.
Except apart from one of the albums, there was.
Yeah.
Okay, my number three, and it's three of the most beautiful women in the world, plus I suppose a decent looking brother, and it's the Corrs, Breathless. Number one for 1 week in 2000. Andrea Corr, absolutely love her. But this is one of the catchiest songs ever, and it's got really good guitar in it as well. Stunning video, and everything about it screams number one. And I guess my number three.
Yeah, good choice. I didn't put it in mine, but I will be doing something on the channel, of course, about the Corrs. You got to, wouldn't you? Might be in March. I wonder why.
I wonder.
Yeah. My number three. This is just pure rock for me, or metal. 2003, and this stayed at number one for 4 weeks. So a really good one is Evanescence, Bring Me to Life.
All right, I missed that one.
I think Amy Lee she is a terrific singer.
Is that the one from the Daredevil film?
I think it's in Daredevil, yeah.
Oh, I forgot all about that. I would have included that as well.
What I like about it, she's got an angelic voice, and then there's there's a male vocal that's more, it's a bit rappy, but it fits, and I just love Evanescence. Full stop. You know, they're one of my best American bands for me. I love the album It's Our Fall, and it's a terrific album. The songs on there are quality, and I'm so glad that got to number one because it deserved to.
Oh, great choice, great choice. Right, my number two and my number one, I still haven't made my mind up. Okay, number two, I'm going this. Number one in 2007 for 5 weeks, and it's Grace Kelly by Mika. It's a perfect pop song. And I love the way he sings in falsetto as well. He sings not the whole thing in falsetto, the way his voice goes up and down, and then he does his little Freddie impression. It's a fantastic song. And the album it comes from, Life in Cartoon Motion, is really, really good. It's just pure pop. And as I say, 5 weeks in the 2000s at number one is saying something. So that gets my number two.
Well, my number two is a song that was a number one in the 70s.
Right, I know what it is.
It's My Sweet Lord, George Harrison. They remastered the All Things Must Pass album, didn't they? And he also did some vocals with Sam Brown, Joe Brown's daughter. And this is that version. It's a bit different from the original, but I still like it.
Was that not a double A side? Because I think the original was the one that got to number one again.
Yeah.
Put it on the CD single.
Yeah, but the one I like the Sam Brown. She just the backing vocals on it, and she does a really good job. And it's just because it's George Harrison, I think.
No, it's the best number one of the 2000s. I agree, but I just didn't want to put it there because I already had it in my 70s list.
Yeah.
But I do have a 70s song in my bubbling unders. So, right, my number one. It's a double whammy, I'm afraid, with the 90s. It's Britney Spears again, and it's Oops, I Did It Again. Number one for 1 week in the year 2000. And the reason I like this is I think that the chorus has got a real ABBA feel from around 1980, 81. It's got that ABBA punchiness, and I've always loved this song. As I said before in the last video, her singles around this time were magnificent, and this one is my favourite of the lot, even more so than Maybe One More Time. So that's my number one, is Oops, I Did It Again by Britney Spears.
Again, very catchy. I think, everyone remembers it.
Mm.
And yeah, you're right. It has got that ABBA-esque about it.
Yeah.
I think when I heard it, I thought, she must like ABBA, because this is so ABBA in places, and it's very catchy. Well, my number one, it's got a 70s connection because it's written by someone from a band in the 70s.
Oh, I know what it is. Can I guess?
Yes.
Kylie Minogue. Can't get it out of my head.
Yeah. Written by the magnificent himself, Mr. Rob Davis.
Yeah, I like that.
I think he learnt a lot from Mr. Chin. Do you? How to write a decent pop song?
So as well.
Because it is a perfect pop song.
Oh, it's very good.
Sung by the princess of pop herself, Kylie Minogue. Still she's a great singer. Okay, she did the Stock Aitken and Walkman stuff, and no one pretty liked it. But some of her later stuff is brilliant, and this song, I think, is just one of her best songs ever.
Yeah, good choice.
Tune. It's a great video as well.
I can't remember the video.
It's got the white thing and lots of and that did it for me. I mean, she's just a great singer, and that's why it's my favourite song of the 2000s.
That's fair enough.
Wrote it.
So our favourites were both female singers, female solo singers.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Right, bubbling unders. I have actually got 4 here. The first one I didn't want to include because I think it's cheating, and it is a song I think only got to number 21 in 1971. Do you know what it is?
It may be. Go on. I've got a rough idea.
And it was number 1 for 7 weeks in 2005, and it's Tony Christie's Amarillo.
Yes.
I love this. I really do. I really wanted to put it in the top 10, but I just couldn't justify it being there. The reason I love it so much is that my parents had this single in 1971, so I grew up with this song, and whenever I heard it, it came out for Comic Relief or whatever it was in 2005, I just thought, yes, fantastic. And the video is so funny, especially Ronnie Corbett falling off the walking machine thing.
Yeah.
Or the walking machine. It was really, really funny. Another one is a number 1 hit for 5 weeks in 2008, and it's Duffy, Mercy. And a really good song, really good voice. I do prefer a couple of other songs off that album to that song, but it still gets my bubbling under. Another one is Girls Aloud, Sound of the Underground. 4 weeks at number 1 between 2003 and 2004. Again, they came from the pop stars, the Girls, didn't they? They won that. I think it's a really good song. It's a good pop song. And then we have Shakira, Shakira, Shakira with Hips Don't Lie, Shakira and Wyclef Jean. It actually got to number 1 for 1 week in 2006. And then a couple of weeks later, it got back to number 1, stayed there for 4 weeks. And again, brilliant, brilliant video. Gorgeous looking girl, and really good fun song. So those are my 4 bubbling unders.
Yeah, and Wyclef Jean's a great producer of pop, so it was going to work. That Girls Aloud song, I think it was featured in the remake of St. Trinian's that Rupert Everett did.
It will have been.
Yeah. Okay, I've just had the 5. Well, that's the 5 minutes starting in 5 minutes, so I'll go through mine very quickly. Like you, I've got Tony Christie. Yeah, great video, and it's a song that I grew up on as well. My second one is from 2005, another 1 weeker, Stereophonics, band that I really like, Dakota. It's just a good old-fashioned rock song. And my last one is from 2001, One Week. Are You Ready for Love, Mr. Elton John?
I was going to do that as well, but then I thought, oh, it's 1979 for me because I have the old 12-inch single from that time.
Yeah, I just put it in because I was struggling. And I thought, oh, I'll put Old Reggie in because it was a good song in 1979 and it's still a good song. And well done, sir, for getting to #1 in the 2000s.
Exactly.
Well,
So that was
an
fun.
interesting one, Richard.
I enjoyed it, but we are not going any further because I would only be able to get, I think, one song.
Yeah.
And that'll be it.
Dive back to the 50s before what we were listening to when we were children because our mums and dads liked it.
I've already got my 50s list, so anytime.
I'll email you in the week then because we can do that as well.
Okay.
Well, as usual, this is always fun to do with Richard, and I know you guys really like these, so I'm sure there'll be more coming up. Once again, Richard, it's always a pleasure to do these. I'll get this out today before I sit and watch lots of rugby. So that's all for today, but tomorrow we have got a birthday show to do for Ralph. He's top 10 from 30th of October 1965. So I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. Busy weekend for me, not a day off. Terrible. So it's goodbye for me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Thank you very much. Bye for now, folks.
Bye.